has a particular venom for blacks and people of color.
Reverend Al Sharpton responding today to attacks from Donald Trump. The U.S. president tweeted about the civil rights activist this morning, calling Sharpton a con man, a troublemaker who hates whites and cops.
Call me a troublemaker? Yes, I make trouble for bigots.
Thank you all very much.
Sharpton was targeted after he defended Elijah Cummings. Cummings, a prominent black Democratic lawmaker, coming under fire in a series of tweets from Trump over the weekend. Posts that also slammed the congressman's majority black district in Baltimore as a disgusting rat and rodent-infested mess, adding no human being would want to live there.
Do you have any plans to visit Baltimore?
Today, Trump renewing his attacks on Cummings, calling Cummings racist, without offering any evidence to back up the claim, and referencing his criticism of 4 Democratic congresswomen who are known as a squad in a post that's linking his attacks on those minority lawmakers and next year's presidential election, saying if the Democrats are going to defend the radical left squad and King Elijah's Baltimore fail, it will be a long road to 2020. Cummings, the chairman of the House Oversight and Reform Committee, is leading a number of investigations into Trump and his administration and has criticized Trump on a host of issues, offering this last week.
People say, oh, you're just messing with the president because you don't like him. It's not about not liking the president. It's about loving democracy. It's about loving our country.
Now, Trump's attack on the 4 congresswomen was condemned as racist in a vote, mostly along party lines, by the House of Representatives. Trump had tweeted about the 4 women who are all American citizens, saying they should go back to the totally broken and crime-infested countries from which they came. Language similar to what he used in his post about Cummings.
He doesn't refer to any of his other opponents or critics as infested.
The president is attacking Mr. Cummings for saying things that are not true about the border. I think
Trump's acting chief of staff was asked about that very word yesterday on Fox News.
Infested. It sounds like vermin. It sounds subhuman. And these are all 6 members of Congress who are people of color.
I think you're spending way too much time reading between the lines.
I'm not reading between the lines. I'm reading the lines.
Sharpton, by the way, just happened to be in Baltimore for a previously scheduled event. And also out of Baltimore today, city supporters launching a website. It is called We Are Baltimore. They launched it early in response to Trump's criticism. It highlights the city's schools, its medical system, and it also calls Baltimore a city with guts and pride and a legacy unrivaled.
It's concerning.
Political pushback as unrelenting as the president's tweets bashing Baltimore and U.S. Representative Elijah Cummings. Many view the tweets as a racist attack. Governor Hogan vented on WBAL Radio's C4 program.
I mean, the comments are just outrageous and inappropriate. Enough is enough. I mean, people are just completely fed up with this kind of nonsense. And why are we not focused on solving the problems and getting to work? I mean, quite frankly, what is the president doing? What is the Congress doing?
Thank you, Elroy.
Activist Al Sharpton and former Lieutenant Governor Michael Steele in town for a previously scheduled event at the new Shiloh Baptist Church. They're taking aim at the president's behavior and calling him a con man.
But he has a particular venom for blacks and people of color. And I'm going to keep making trouble for bigots. As far as me being a con man, if he really thought I was a con man, he'd be nominating me for his cabinet.
The president learned about Congressman Cummings' district from a clip on Fox and Friends over the weekend. Kim Klacik also tweeted how deplorable the conditions are. She is a member of the Baltimore County Republican Central Committee. She did not return our calls.
Hello, everybody.
Former Maryland Lieutenant Governor Michael Steele invited the president to take a look at the 7th District for himself.
The streets are ready for you. The neighborhoods are ready for you. Folks want to talk to you. So just show up. Put the tweet down, brother, and show up.
Coincidentally, the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, owns apartment complexes in Baltimore County that have been cited for hundreds of code violations. Mice infected some of those properties.
Here in Baltimore County, we had to threaten both significant fines as well as the withholding of federal payments to ensure there was compliance in having apartments be livable. And so there's a certain irony in having the president attacking a city and a region when his own son-in-law was directly involved and his companies were directly involved in creating the conditions where that quality of life was threatened.
As far as addressing problems, the governor says he's setting up a meeting with the mayor and police commissioner to discuss the city's new crime-fighting plan. He's also calling for more help from the Trump administration. Reporting live from West Baltimore,
David Collins, WBAL TV 11 News.
We are in Druid Hill Park, certainly one of the city's assets, and it is located in the 7th Congressional District. Today has seen multiple efforts unfolding to defend the city in the face of the week-long tirade by President Trump against the city and its congressmen.
We grew up in this city, made our name in this city, but there's more we can do.
On his Instagram page, Under Armour CEO Kevin Plank put up a video about Baltimore, emphasizing its grit and pride. The tourist organization Visit Baltimore posted full-page ads in The Sun, The Washington Post, and will tomorrow in The New York Times. It lists the city's rankings in several business and tourism categories. Online, a new website was introduced, wearebaltimore.com. It's been in the works for several months, its founders say, but the president's attacks caused them to show it off early.
We Are Baltimore site is really an aggregation of all the good stories that are happening in the city, and a kind of Reddit style where the citizens can vote up or vote down their favorite stories about the area.
When fully activated, the site is intended to be a central gathering place for stories about Baltimore that present a different narrative than the one that so often defines all the city is about.
There are challenges, there are harsh realities, but there's also tremendous progress and momentum, capability, talent, entrepreneurship. So this is a place that we hope will serve as a sort of so-called good news network to tell the story, to provide a counterpoint to the negative.
Founders say the goal is not to ignore the challenges and conditions in some Baltimore communities, but to tell other parts of the story too.
I think there are about $6 billion worth of development going on in East Baltimore. We don't know about it. Most people are just frankly unaware.
Michael Cryer was part of the effort back in 2015. It was called One Baltimore to attract financial support for West Baltimore after the unrest following the death of Freddie Gray in West Baltimore. It really struggled to gain traction back in 2015. Cryer said today he wished he had a venue or an outlet or a vehicle like this new website, which is intended to gather the stories about Baltimore. He wished he had something like that at that time when he was trying to promote that effort. Reporting live tonight from Druid Hill Park, I'm Jane Miller, WBAL TV 11 News.
All right, Jane, thank you. And you can read all the president's tweets from this morning and over the weekend and see the reaction pouring in from the community and other officials in the WBAL TV app. Just be sure to turn on those push alerts for any breaking updates.
President Donald Trump facing new accusations of racism after unleashing a Twitter assault on yet another Congress member of color, this time aimed at Representative Elijah Cummings and the majority black district the Democrat represents. The president calling Baltimore a disgusting rat and rodent-infested mess where no human being would want to live. Baltimore city leaders denounced those comments as racist.
There are rats all over the country. We have two-legged rats.
We stand ready and willing to work with the president if he wants to go beyond tweets to help us solve some of the issues that are deep and rooted in Baltimore's history.
Thank you all very much. But Trump is doubling down and was still tweeting today about Congressman Cummings and his city, writing he just wants to use his oversight committee to hurt innocent people and divide our country.
I'm begging the American people to pay attention to what is going on.
Cummings is one of the president's fiercest critics in Congress, and as House Oversight Committee chairman, leads multiple investigations into the Trump administration, including recent hearings on the inhumane conditions at the border.
What does that mean when a child is sitting in their own feces, can't take a shower? Come on, man. None of us would have our children in that position.
A top Trump aide came to his boss's defense today.
The president is attacking Mr. Cummings for saying things that are not true about the border. And I think the president is right to raise that. It has absolutely zero to do with race. Have you seen some of the pictures on the internet just this morning from the conditions in Baltimore, Maryland? Have you seen them?
Do that in any inner city in America.
Trump's Twitter rant about Cummings is reminiscent of his attacks on 4 Democratic congresswomen of color, who he declared should go back to their home countries, even though they're American citizens. The president's use of racist strokes inspired chants of "send her back" at a recent campaign rally. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi swiftly condemned the president's online jabs at Cummings as racist, and Trump today targeting Pelosi in a tweet that says, Speaking of failing badly, has anyone seen what is happening to Nancy Pelosi's district in San Francisco? Meantime, the Baltimore Sun among those reacting to Trump's tweets with outrage. The paper out with an editorial today titled, "Better to have a few rats than to be one."